In your 20s, investing often isn't the first thing on your mind. Socializing and going to parties are normally a little bit higher on your list of priorities. But your 20s are an outstanding time to set yourself up for the rest of your life. By making good habits early, it's the easiest way to achieve financial freedom if you know what you're doing. The best part about starting to invest early is that you can see massive gains even with just a small amount of money. Investing $50 a week can lead you to become a millionaire, but how can you achieve results like this? I'll be showing you how much you need to invest, what stocks to buy, and the best strategies to manage your money. I've personally used all of these methods to build a profitable stock portfolio that I ultimately sold and used as a deposit to buy my first house at 22. My goal is to help you replicate and exceed what I've done and help you secure your own financial goals. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite strategy is to manage your money. I always make sure to reply to all the comments left on my channel, and I love interacting with my audience. My first tip is just to start investing and set up a brokerage account. Most people think that you need thousands of dollars to even begin your investing journey, and in your 20s you don't have a lot of expendable income. You might be at uni working a part-time job, doing a trade apprenticeship, or just really figuring out what you want to do with your life. The whole purpose is just to start, and you need to get yourself a brokerage account so that you can start buying shares and investing in the stock market. Now, depending on which country that you're living in, there's different brokers that are on offer. So in Australia and New Zealand there's Stake, in America there's Robinhood, and in the United Kingdom is Webull. I'll have affiliate links down below in the description box for some of these brokers if you want to check them out. You might not have a lot of money now, but building the habit and consistently putting some of your income away into the stock market is what you're trying to achieve. Just putting aside $20 a week is a great starting point. I personally put away a percentage of my income, and I stick with 20%. So that means if I make $1,000, 20% of that gets put aside for investing. Of course, you don't have to start with that much money. You could even just begin with 5 or 10%, but a percentage is great because it means naturally the more money you make, you're going to have more money available to invest, and gradually build how much you put into the stock market as your earning capacity increases. Building the habit is far more important than the end goal. Even that $20 a week over a period of decades can become a staggering amount of money. If you invested $20 a week for 40 years at an average return of 10%, which is very achievable in the stock market, you'd have $424,000. The longer that you do this, the greater the amount of time that your money has to compound and increase in value. An extra few years can make a massive difference to the total value of your portfolio. If you did this for 45 years, you'd have $690,000, and then if you did it for 50 years, you'd have close to $1.2 million. And the difference between investing for 40 years and 50 years is almost $700,000. So the earlier you start, the greater the amount of money that you can make. So you can see the clear benefit of starting early, because the longer that you invest, the longer your money has time to grow in the market, and the results can be quite staggering even from just having a small amount of money set aside. A quick story about myself: investing is the only thing that made me hold on to my income. Before that, any expendable money that I had, I would just spend it on clothes, buying a new phone, going to concerts, going to parties, and anything that I had would just get frittered away. No matter how much money I had, I would just spend everything. While I was at uni, I had a summer job for 3 months working as a labourer on a building site. I worked 60 hours a week and made $800 after tax. It was the most amount of money I had ever made in my life. I could have easily saved $500 every week since my expenses were about $300. And after all those months of working, guess how much money I actually saved? It was a grand total of $1,000, and it easily could have been $6,000, but I had no internal drive or justification to keep my money. I knew about investing, but I just talked myself out of it. I thought it was a big, complicated process, so I never got started. And the only other alternative that I could see was putting my money into a savings account, but you get a pitiful 0.5% on that, so you're never really going to make much money from it anyway. So just like many others, the more money I made, the more money I spent. It was only until I realized how straightforward investing was, how fast you can buy shares, and how consistent the returns can be, that I actually started decide to hold on to my income and use it productively. And I'll just quickly throw in an extra bonus tip for you guys. Let me just get nice and close to the mic just to maximize the audio quality. The secret bonus tip is subscribing to the channel and dropping a like for the YouTube algorithm. So number 2, where should you be investing your money to get results like the ones that I showed in the previous example? ETFs are a great place to start because they're a proven, reliable, and consistent way to make money in the stock market. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund, and essentially it's a basket of stocks clumped together based on a particular investment goal. The most common ETFs track major stock market indexes, and you might already be familiar with some of them. They include the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and most notably the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is the most important because historically it gives you an average return of about 10%. From 2001 to 2022, it's given just under 9.9%. So you can't directly invest into the S&P 500 index. Instead, you're going to need an ETF that tracks it. Now, the one that I personally go with is VOO, which is the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. Now, the ETF perfectly matches the returns of the index because they buy and sell all the same companies. The reason this investment is so powerful is because it gives you targeted exposure to various sectors in the market. There's technology, healthcare, finance, real estate, energy, all clumped together into one investment, and you get exposure to some of the biggest companies in the world. Thinking of brands like Facebook, Coca-Cola, Amazon, Google, Tesla, all put together into one investment. The investment includes the 500 biggest publicly traded companies in America. And on top of its average return of 10%, VOO will also offer you a dividend payout of 1.59%. This can also be reinvested to continue growing your profits. Famous investors like Warren Buffett really preach about the benefits of the S&P 500 and greatly recommends it to any new investor who wants to get started in the stock market. Of course, you're not going to make fast money from this, but it's a reliable way to begin your investing journey. Once you have skin in the game, you'll be more interested in educating yourself about the stock market, and then from here you can branch out and start researching individual companies and furthering your knowledge about investing in general. And it's all about starting, and often if people are trying to pick a winning stock and always looking for the perfect buying and selling points and stressing themselves out and making investing this big daunting process, then they never get started. But if you find something reliable like an S&P 500 ETF that's going to give you a consistent and profitable return, it puts your mind at ease and it makes the process of just beginning your investing much easier. And then once you've started, you can keep on learning. You don't need to be an expert right away, but just beginning the journey is always the hardest step. Number 3 is reading or listening to books. Now, books are a great way to gain a new perspective on a topic because they're typically written by someone who's condensing all the knowledge that they've gained about a specific topic and giving it to you in an easy to follow and digestible way to help you gain a new perspective. One of the biggest problems that people face with books is that they don't want to set any time aside to read them, or they might be very pressed for time and don't really know how they're going to fit in reading a new book into their busy schedule. Now, a great way that I use to work around this is listening to books. I use Audible and I play them in my car while I drive to and from work. Now, most people have to commute to work. You can listen to them in your car, on your headphones while you're on the bus, or even while you're in the gym as well. Now, this means you don't have to set any time aside to absorb the information in the book, and you can just make it a part of your routine. I also like to listen to a book on about 1.2 to 1.3 speed just to get through it a little bit faster. Even if your total commute to and from work is 20 minutes, that's still 100 minutes every week, which is an hour and 40 minutes altogether. So over the course of a month, you'll easily be able to get through one book. Something important to keep in mind, and a great perspective that I got from another YouTube channel called Alex Hormozy, is that you don't want to get caught up in just reading lots of books for the sake of reading. It's important with every book that you consume that you gain new perspectives and beliefs that actually change your behaviors. If you're just reading a book every week but forgetting the principles in the books that you've read, and you're just glazing over them because you think it's a good idea to consume lots of information impression, then you're sort of losing the whole purpose of why you read. Because really what you're after with a book is to gain a new and permanent perspective that changes your behaviors. For me personally, I really got caught up in just trying to read lots of books. I would listen to about 15 books every year and only 3 of them would stick with me. I'd listen to the books way too fast at 1.5 or 1.6 speed, and they would sort of just be background noise sometimes. I wasn't really focusing on what the book was saying, and I'd listen to certain parts that I really would find quite interesting, but a few weeks after I'd listened to the book, I pretty much had forgotten what it was about. So personally, I've also found that you're far better off just to listen to a few good books multiple times, or listen to them every 6 to 12 months just to really make sure you're reiterating the ideas in them. Because at the end of the day, it might sound good that you're reading one book every week, but if you're not really gaining any new perspectives from them that permanently change your behavior, then you're not really getting the fullest out of that book. Some of the books which have had a long-lasting impression on me are Rich Dad Poor Dad, Atomic Habits, and The 4-Hour Workweek. I'll leave some links down below in the description box if you want to pick up a hard copy from Amazon or download the audiobook from Audible. The fourth and final tip is having the right perspective on money. Now, the thing that was always drilled into me was get a good education, go to uni, get a degree, and then work your way up the ladder of your profession. Now on paper this sounds great, but I think it can be a very limiting perspective. If all you think about is education as being your vehicle to get yourself towards your financial goals, then you never think about other things like investing in cryptocurrency or the stock market. At a push, you might think about real estate investing, but the average house price is so high now that you almost have to win the lottery just to get a deposit together, so that idea can seem so far out of reach for many people that they never even really consider investing in real estate either. While going through the process of studying to become a physiotherapist at uni, I started to realize the massive potential that a YouTube channel could have. Taking a look at one of the videos that I made, which has gained 24,000 views, and I spent 6 hours making it. Over that time, it's made $220 in AdSense and $770 in affiliate commission. So overall, it's made $980 just for 6 hours of work. Now, of course, this is my most profitable video, but it really opened my eyes to see the great potential that YouTube can have. And when you see other channels making $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month, you really have to ask yourself, there must be a better way to make more money and achieve my financial goals than just studying at university. Investing in the stock market is only one of the avenues that you can take to grow your personal wealth. Of course, there's real estate investing as well, but getting a deposit together and securing your first home is much easier said than done. There's lots of factors that you have to keep in mind, like getting the money together for a deposit, picking the right home, and getting approval from the bank. Check out this video on screen where I share all the steps that I used to buy my first house at 22 so that you can achieve this goal for yourself as well.